Hello to my beautiful family of light. Yes, that means you. My name is Claudia and I want to welcome you to my channel. This channel is all about us humans being way more than we think we are. We have a divine connection, and that divine connection has a place that it lives within us, and it is something that took me from clueless to aware and then actively utilizing it, and in doing so has given me some marvelous stories to tell, and life that has been just profoundly interesting for sure. It's not without its ups and downs. We aren't saying that about things, right? We all have to live here and pay the rent and, you know, fix the car and whatever else we need to do. But this channel is, and these stories I'm starting number 18 today. I publish a little bit on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and once in a while slide some stuff in on other days. So subscribing helps you to make sure you catch all of the things that get published. But this is my soul's journey in nudging me along from birth to, and I'm in my 70s now, and it's always evolving. It's always growing. We are, as long as we're here, we're capable of learning, growing, and creating a wonderful life for ourselves. So I'm going to start in a moment on the lesson number 18 and give you a little bit of background about it. I've moved into an area, having been given a set of instructions. I've established a home there. It is now, we're going to start, and it's going to be spring. We've gone through, I arrived in September, and I've established a home, a community for myself, and some friendships. And, you know, I'm active, doing some things actively in the community. As somebody who's involved, I met an individual there that when the first time I heard this person's voice, my whole body became a goosebump mess. It was so interesting. And of course, then it passes and you wonder, well, what was going on there? But as time marches on, many interesting things happen with this individual. And so we're going to go into that. These stories have to do with my life. And in the telling of my stories, I'm thinking that some things are going to be triggered for you because we're all ordinary people. We all have our ordinary lives. It doesn't make us not extraordinary because we're that too. It's just that there are things going on in our lives that maybe through my life you can say, oh my gosh, is that what was happening there? So let's get on with it. So a little bit of this background is that I've met this individual who, I think there's, how many? 18 years difference in our ages. And he's just a delightful person. We get along really well. We just, you know, knocked it out of the park. So this chapter begins in early spring 1991. And I'm guessing that it's going to be right around the end of March or early April. The weather gets so incredibly wonderful in the high mountain desert. It can be cold, but you can go from a 30-degree day and have it be 80 degrees in 4 or 5 hours, no problem, and then go back to freezing again. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to read a little bit from the book that I've written. It's in editing now, so. This chapter is called A Wilderness Education. This is the city girl moving now, exploring the wilderness. Hello, bathing beauty. Head popping up from the book I was reading, I thought the voice was coming from behind me and inside the house. I turned to my left shoulder and didn't see anything. Not seeing anyone there, I thought I'd made it up. Well, back to reading and letting the sun warm my back. This time I heard the voice clearer. behind me and over my right shoulder. Turning around, I could see fingertips at the top of the fence gate. His action was clearly reminiscent of Kilroy, the fictitious World War II character who wrote graffiti and then signed it saying Kilroy was here. Still seeing his fingertips, his not quite bald head, although close to Kilroy's, he popped up, displaying his signature light-emitting smile and bright eyes. Inviting himself in, he opened the gate and walked over. "Want to go for a ride with me?" he asked. Having already made up my mind to do that, I swung my legs off the lounger so that my feet were now on the ground and asked what he had in mind. Jacob said he thought we should go up to the Clark's Fork Canyon, not far to the north and west. Already at the back step, I said sure, as Jacob followed me inside. I was wearing flip-flops, which I thought would be fine for a drive. I gathered a light jacket to bring as a layer in case of a change in weather, my purse with identification, keys, and finally securing the house, I followed him out to the car. This was the second time we'd been alone together, and we chatted on like we'd been friends for years, picking up where we left off. We comfortably inquired about our days and activities in the emerging spring. His daughter and the family's new baby took up his time, and we talked easily, finding humor and joy in the trials of parenthood, her newly acquired mother status, and our reminiscences, with a caveat of gratitude to have those days behind us for ourselves. We traveled the same highway I had come into town on, as far as to where the bench dropped down to the Clark's Fork River. We made a left turn there, heading west along a partially paved road. Ahead, the dramatic canyon walls separated the Beartooth Range to the north from the Absaroka Mountain Range to the south. There were red rocks and an obvious slide where a good portion of the mountain had let go. The paved road ended at what appeared to be a four-wheeler trail. Jacob slowed way down as he turned onto the severely rocky and bumpy single-car stretch of road. Weaving in and out, I thought he was going to park the car off to the side where there was a pullout. Instead, he skillfully guided his car over large rocks that could have easily turned out the bottom of his car, torn it out into shreds. I looked at him and said, "It seems you've done this before." "Many times," he said, driving on. We came to a stop and he got out and began to walk. I opened the door and realizing the drive part had just concluded. Standing with the door open, surveying the lay of the land, it didn't take a rocket scientist to realize that my flip-flops would not protect my delicately painted toes from the cactus, sage, and scrub of the landscape. But treading lightly, I closed the door and walked the road 100 feet or so, all the while making a mental note that a drive meant a hike. The landscape before me was breathtaking and at the same time stark and forbidding. The roar of the spring runoff could be heard, echoing off the canyon walls as the river raged downstream. The rocks along its curves and dips, no deterrent to its mighty force. The route I surveyed ahead, a moderately steep slope to the north rise of the canyon walls. Although I found it interesting, everywhere I looked seemed colorless. Other than the trees higher up, I saw only muted grays, greens, and browns. Dirt. I saw dirt everywhere. I found a log on the side of the road where I sat watching Jacob meandering closer to the river. He occasionally looked back to note my whereabouts. I suspect he thought I would follow, and certainly normally I would have. But without decent shoes, I wasn't particularly adventuresome at the moment. From my perch on the log, I watched as he picked up one stick after another, discarding each one, looking for another as he threaded his way through the scrub, moving closer to the river. I could see that he was looking for something in particular. I didn't know what, and made a mental note to ask him about it later. I didn't know why, but my attention was now drawn down to my feet. Then I saw it. A tiny, tiny dot of color, totally out of place. Taking a closer look revealed a surprise, multicolored bonfire of wildflowers springing out of the rocks. Disbelieving, I beheld the tiniest, most delicate flowers in an amazing array of shapes and colors. Turning a full circle as far as the eye could see, the display was such a surprise, and oh my, escaped on my breath. I began looking more closely everywhere around me, spending more time focusing and seeing more details that had gone unnoticed earlier. That day, I learned to look, feel, and sense more closely, becoming more consciously aware of my surroundings and more present, more in the moment. I'd heard those terms before, but had never understood what they meant. I also became more appreciative of our Creator and the planet I was inhabiting. Suddenly, I felt like this, being here, was no accident. It seemed that it was God's intention all along to move me toward a greater awareness of my own feelings about my place in existence here on the earth. My place as a necessary being here at this time now seemed necessary. Having often felt like a tiny speck myself of sand, as if just an itty-bitty grain of sand on a beach, I now knew that I was part of the whole of Source's creation. I was so moved, a part of me wanted to weep at the humbling revelation. The bigger part of me wanted to burst into song, How Great Thou Art, with a booming voice that could project into the next county, but too shy to do that. I began humming under my breath, which turned into joyful, soft singing as I stood to go find Jacob. I've talked quite a bit about how you have to look for things that are going on around you and what you're feeling, what you're sensing, what you're noticing. This was the first time, honestly, well, it may have been the second, because having my son was a pretty tremendous moment, but you're so full of emotion and hormones. I don't know what was what. I was so calm and at peace, and I felt like I belong here. I belong on this earth. And I didn't pick flowers. I just noticed them, and the colors and shapes were unreal. There are signs and synchronicities along the way, and therein lies the message in this particular beginning of the story. Ask more questions. What kind of well, now I know, that a drive means a hike. And so you've got to take shoes and make sure you have, appropriate wear and whatnot. And we'll explore more as time goes on, because I lived in this area for 4 years and some pretty remarkable things happened. But the synchronous signs and synchronicities, goosebumps, that tells you that your guidance, we all have helpers. We all have from source, from our creator. Make sure we're never alone. You have someone with you constantly saying, are you sure you want to do that? You might want to go over this way and not do that. You may be angry with somebody. It might be saying to you, calm down, calm down. But remember, it's a very small voice. So you have goosebumps that you are in sync, in harmony with your creator. So feelings, thoughts, feelings, emotions. Our God is a creator, if you look at nature and some of the things that are coming out of science, you would say, who could have come up with that design for a creature? None of us would have. And where do some of these scientists come up with things that are phenomenal answers to problems and situations? I believe that these are coming from that access point within us. And in my case, had I gone with him, I wouldn't have sat there with my thoughts. I wouldn't have had the quiet moment for creation to get in touch with me and to say, you are here. You are here. You are here because this is right where your creator, our God, our source wants you. And that is you also. I hope you have enjoyed this. It's a fun thing for me to go back and relive my memories. I've had so many, lots of interesting things happen. And everybody's got their story, and it's going to be interesting to you. It doesn't mean it's going to be interesting. My story is going to be interesting to you. My point isn't my story. It's you have to get behind and say, what's going on here? Well, I had these things happen because I'm curious. It doesn't bother me when it happens. I know something's going on. I don't necessarily know what it is, but I'm willing to learn. And I hope you stay curious too. Well, that's it for today. We'll pick up another one in a day or two. And because I'm at, what age is this now? Oh, I think I had my 40th birthday out there, 39th. Yeah, I had my 40th birthday. So I'm only 40. We got 30 years to go. I don't know if you can stick with me that long, but I hope you're having fun enough that you will at least give it a go. Well, thank you so much for joining me. When you subscribe, those are the things that allow this channel to grow, get out to more people, stir some of the imagination, maybe have some memory or something come up for you that says, oh yeah, I've had some things like that where I just felt like I needed to change lanes, and then that truck blew a flat tire, ahead of me. I was saved, or I could have, who knew what could have happened. We have all kinds of things going on in our lives. God is always at work for you. Well, I want you to know I love you this much, and these arms go all the way around you, all the way around this planet. There isn't a person that it misses here. And light and love, healing energy. I hope you can feel that warmth and know that the love is real. And I hope that you stay safe, be well, be happy, and know that you are more than you think you are, way beyond your imagining you are loved. So until the next time, take care, and I will see you later.